Cool. What's up guys, it's Devin here with Make Anything. And on this channel we do a lot of different things. I like to use my 3D printers to fix things. Sometimes I'll just experiment and try to push the technology. But today we're doing something a little different. We're kind of just having a fun day and making these cute little decorative mushroom lamps. It's pretty much just a fun little DIY project. Although, as with every new project, I did learn a lot of new things. And this one's also really cool because I made one light fixture and my girlfriend made one for herself. And we kind of take different approaches. So mine was made with 3D printing, 3D pens. I like to use all that new technology. But Natalie's was made with a more traditional approach using some clay, and it came out really cool. I think it's cool for you guys to be able to see how both of them were done. And maybe you want to do it this way, maybe you want to do it this way, maybe you come up with your own way, or maybe you just use what you learned for something completely different. That's what I love about creative projects, is you can learn something and take something away from every project. But anyways, you might want to do these mushroom lamps because they do look very cool. So let's get right to it. I do have two projects to show you basically, so yeah, let's go. Here's the piece of wood that I chose for this project, and I think it's perfect because it looks pretty intricate, but in reality it doesn't have too many bends. And that's important because my idea is to be able to drill through from both ends and create a kind of tunnel hollowing out the wood so that I could feed wires through it all and create my glowing mushrooms. And I honestly wasn't sure if any of this would work, but it was just an experiment, so I just started drilling carefully, making sure not to go through the wood where I didn't want to. This was a pretty soft and dry piece of wood, so I felt confident holding it in my hand like this and drilling, but it's probably not the safest way to do it. So you might want to have it clamped onto a workbench or something if you're gonna try to do this. But anyways, I just went ahead and kept drilling little by little and slowly working up the size of my drill bits to try to hollow this out as much as possible while limiting the number of holes that actually have to come through the branch so that I can hide everything and keep the magic alive. This part of the branch was pretty sketchy. It was already cracked, so I decided to wrap it with some wire to hold it together while I was drilling to make sure I didn't split the wood any further. And that actually worked pretty well. I was able to hollow it out a decent amount without causing any damage. Here's Natalie's piece of wood, and hers was a lot easier to deal with because it's basically just one stump. So we just had to hollow out the inside to create room for electronics and then drill straight holes from the outside wherever there's going to be mushrooms. Similarly, with my piece, once I had these tunnels going through my wood, I started drilling from the outside to decide where I wanted to have my individual mushrooms coming out. And it was easy to tell when I hit that inner tunnel because the drill bit would quickly jump in. And I was careful not to over drill because the smoother this inner tunnel is, the easier it's going to be to feed wires through this crazy maze. And it was pretty difficult. So here you can see the first two wires that I'm feeding through. And I started at the top because I want to push through the most difficult wires first, the ones that have the furthest way to travel. And what I decided to do here was to intertwine these two wires, that way I could pull them through together. That's a little easier than feeding them both one at a time. This next wire was kind of challenging too because these wires were rather thin and flimsy. So instead of just trying to feed this blue one through, I went ahead and used some other steel wire and I twisted that with this drill to make it a little bit thicker. And once I feed that steel one through, I can connect it to the blue one and pull that through as well. So that was a little easier than just trying to push the blue wire through. And along the way, I'm just going to keep trimming and feeding wires in as I move down the stem. And of course, the ones closer to the bottom were easier to feed through. I didn't have to do anything crazy. Although on this other branch, I did have some pretty tricky ones. I had to shine a light in there to kind of see what I'm doing and try to navigate the wire through these curves. For the most difficult wires, I had to take it a step further and use this very thin electrical cable. And what I did with this piece was I actually stapled the end and crumpled that staple up into this little piece of steel. And with that, I can stick a magnet in through the other end and try to fish that cable through. This was really tricky and it took a lot of patience, but I did get that wire all the way through. And the magnets really help navigate like the 90-degree curves that this thing has to go through. But it worked, and once I had those single wires through, I took the same wire and doubled it up on itself. That way I would have a positive and negative to connect to the LEDs. I tied that to the single wires that I already fed through, and then I pulled those wires all through together. That way I now have 2 cables for each hole for each mushroom. Luckily, this other piece of wood was a lot more simple. First, we just used the Dremel to hollow out that inside a bit more and give us more room to work with in the end. And then the wires don't have to travel very far, so it was really easy to feed all those through. So the wiring was kind of tricky, and I hoped that was as difficult as this project would get. And it was time to go ahead and strip these wires and start soldering on some LEDs. I want my mushrooms to glow in the dark, so I'm using UV LEDs, and then Natalie is just using regular LEDs, and she's going to combine that with translucent clay to make it glow that way. It's a pretty straightforward job, so I just connected all the pins for these LEDs, and I made sure that the white cable was always connected to the negative pin. That way it would be easier to stay organized moving forward. And organization definitely was a challenge because we had all these wires coming through the bottom, and what I decided to do was pair these up into series circuits. So basically I'm going to have 2 LEDs connected in one circuit so that my 6-volt power supply should distribute that voltage and give each LED 3 volts of electricity, which is what the label said they required. That did end up leading me into some trouble, and maybe some electricians already know what that problem is, but you'll see as we go forward. For now, I went ahead and created those series circuits of 2 LEDs, and sure enough, it worked. I was testing with a 6-volt battery, and everything lit up as it should, so I went ahead and soldered those together. And now I have 8 pairs of 2 LEDs, which I'm going to connect all the negatives for those and all the positives. That way I'm left with 2 big pins that I can connect to my power supply. Finally, I decided to use hot glue to insulate and protect these wires. That way they wouldn't accidentally touch each other, cross circuits, or do anything funky like that. And I also used that same hot glue at the pins of the LED to make sure that those 2 positive and negative pins didn't touch and cause a failure of some sort. So that worked pretty well. Then I went ahead and just twisted all of this together into one big mess of cables so that I can make it as compact as possible, because I'm going to try to hide this inside the base of my project. So messy cables, but overall things look good, and I figured this should work flawlessly. So I went ahead, took my power supply, and quickly touched that positive and negative, and sure enough, the LEDs turned on. But I was doing these really quick taps and noticed that the LEDs were burning really bright, brighter than they usually would. And after I did a bit of research online, I learned that I do need to put resistors on these LEDs, because voltage alone isn't what determines how bright these things glow. It's more of the current that is what you have to watch out for. So if I had just used the power supply as is without any resistors, those LEDs would have burnt out in a matter of seconds, and it's very good that I didn't test it for any longer. So to fix this, I had to further mangle this mess of wires and cut off the positive wires here and connect resistors for each set of 2 LEDs. And I could have just bought a 100 ohm resistor, but I just connected the ones I had here to 47 ohm resistors, and combined those create just about enough resistance. I'm honestly not an expert with electronics, and I didn't have the data sheet for these LEDs, so I didn't know exactly how much current they needed, but I followed the advice of the Ask Engineering subreddit on reddit.com, and they helped me out and told me to put resistors in front of each series circuit. And sure enough, with those resistors in place, I was able to light up the LEDs and not have them burn out. So that's good. Now we just have all these extra resistors to deal with, so I just used some duct tape as a way to keep them separated. It really is a mess down here, but I'm gonna hide all of this in the end, so I'm just gonna deal with it. For now, let's focus on the mushrooms again. What I'm gonna do next is bend my LEDs into place and start using my 3D Simo 3D pen with some glow-in-the-dark filament to cover the wires of the LEDs and create the stems of my mushrooms. So I just extruded plastic and tried to cover those pins as well as I could without making things too bulky. And honestly, it was pretty tough to get a nice clean stem because the way these are curved and just how close together everything is, but I was able to get pretty decent stems. They're rough, but you know what? It's a natural thing, these mushrooms, so they don't have to look perfectly smooth. So here we go. We've now got all these little mushroom stems, and next up we need to print the caps for the top of the mushroom. And I decided to make those on my 3D printer. I printed these out in 2 different glow-in-the-dark filaments, honestly just because I ran out of the first one, and it created a kind of cool 2-layer effect. I modeled these in Fusion 360, that way I could easily make them taller or shorter, wider and skinnier, and create this kind of variation of mushrooms. I took the risk of printing these all in one big batch on my CR10S, and as you can see, they came out looking pretty darn good. I'm gonna whip out my hot glue gun again, and before I attach the caps, I'm gonna go ahead and glue all the stems into place. That way they are solidly connected to my piece of wood. So I just added some hot glue, smushed them into place, and tried to smooth that out as much as possible. And there we go. Now you can see I've got them all curving upwards like mushrooms would. And then I'm just gonna loosely put all these mushroom caps into place to make sure they'll fit. And once I have a decent arrangement, I can go ahead and actually permanently glue them into place with this hot glue gun. I'll just put a dab of glue on the mushroom or on the LED, and then hold it in place for a few seconds as it cools down. Things did get pretty crowded here. Maybe I should have printed the mushroom caps a little smaller, but considering the size of the stems, I thought this was pretty proportional. And in the end, I did get a crowded but pretty cool looking piece of wood with all these mushrooms. Next up, I went ahead and printed the base for this whole light. So I've got the walls and the bottom printed here, as well as these panels that are gonna go inside and separate the electronics from the branch and the mushrooms. Because I printed these on all different printers, the base and the sides didn't fit together perfectly, but rather than wasting the plastic and printing it all over again, I just took a lighter and quickly heated up these little tabs until they were soft, and then I used a piece of metal to kind of bend them outward and create a tighter fit. And sure enough, that did the trick. The top panels here fit really nicely, so now let's just go ahead and do a quick test before we close this up. And sure enough, we've got glowing mushrooms. Very cool. So I went ahead and soldered the cables from that power supply to the cables that connect to all my mushrooms. And I taped that up a little bit more to try to get it as compact as possible. And then I went ahead and closed it up inside of my box. I used hot glue again to just seal up everything, and then a few more sticks of hot glue just to hold the branch into place. There we go. Now the branch is standing upright, and to finish things off, we're gonna fill this box with some rocks. And I got these rocks from an aquarium supply on Amazon. I'll put a link in the description, and I thought these were ideal for this project because I figured the shiny black rocks can pick up a bit of the reflection of those UV lights that I'm using. And it's also got some neon rocks sprinkled in that should glow under the UV light as well. Great, I think we're all done. So let's turn this on and appreciate that really cool glow. The combination of the filament and the UV lights makes this really beautiful gradient. And of course, when you turn the lights off, the mushrooms will continue to glow for a few minutes. And they also change color, so it's really cool that in the different states, whether the lights are off, on, or then off again, they kind of transform and change color. So that made a really cool effect with these mushrooms. Alright, now let's see how Natalie finished up her light. So instead of using 3D pens and 3D printers, she just went ahead and got this air dry clay so that she can wrap up the stems that way. This air dry clay really was ideal for this use because it allows Natalie to wrap it all around the LED and kind of embed the wires inside of her clay construction here. And so she went ahead and did that for the stems, and then for the caps of the mushroom, she modeled them with clay again, but for this she used Sculpey translucent oven baked clay. And that's nice because after you bake it, it becomes pretty resilient, and so it's less likely to get damaged. So we let those cool off, and then took some E6000 glue, slathered that on there, and popped it on top of the LEDs. With Natalie's piece, instead of having the lights plug into an outlet, we chose to make it battery powered because we want this to be able to hang on the wall. So we've just got a little switch in the back and the battery pack, and it works really nicely, and just look at that beautiful glow. So I am going to use a bit of 3D printing to finish this up to create a nice low profile back panel for this. So I scanned it in, traced things out so that I could model that panel in Fusion 360. And then we took the Dremel and created another little divot in the back here so that a screw can hold on to the thing. And we took the printed panel and glued it down into place. Here it is after we left it to dry for the night. And you can see now that we've got this little keyhole to hang onto a nail. And then we've got these openings to allow us to access the battery and the switch while still holding things down so that this can hang flat against the wall. And you'll also notice we don't have that mess of resistors here, and that's because the battery itself kind of creates its own resistance. I won't pretend to know exactly how that works, but that's what the engineers on Reddit told me, so I took their word for it, and sure enough, the LEDs glow perfectly, and they don't burn out or anything. Alright guys, there you have it. Two pretty different ways to do a kind of similar project. I hope you enjoyed that look at two different directions and just the project overall. I thought it was pretty fun and exciting. It took quite a bit of time and experimentation to really figure this out. So it was a good one. Let me know which one you prefer. As much as it hurts my ego, I really like Natalie's, but I'm sure someone out there likes this one, right? It's still cool. Let me know in the comments. But that's it for today. So until next time, I'm Devin. This is Make Anything. Don't forget to stay inspired.